Hey, Fish here with another raid video. Today we're going to look at the clan boss and how exactly you can manage to do damage to it. For one of the most important things, I would say, you need decrease attack. Most people will say that's correct, unless you're using an unkillable team, which is not what I'm going to be using here. In this case, you're gonna want it very consistently. So someone like him with the 250% chances, or I'm sure there are other more consistent ones. I forget where she is. I thought she was an orc for a second. Here's a really consistent one, just does it every time. And there are a lot that'll do 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. You could just use 2. But you definitely want decrease attack if you're using the standard teams that people usually do. And you're gonna want lifesteal, because without it, you don't really last very long in most cases. Especially early. Then, aside from that, decreased defense and weaken are both good. Although decreased defense is more useful for the higher stages of it, where weaken is mostly better for low ones. Another reason I like Tyrell here, because he can do the defense reduction. Although his cooldown is a bit higher than I'd prefer. And he also has one of the other things, which I would say is really useful. A good aura for it, because he'll boost defense. Importantly, you need one that says all battles like this, because otherwise it won't work on the clan boss. There is currently no such thing as an only clan boss one. Once you have decreased attack, though, and possibly decreased defense, you'll need some way to do damage. And generally that will be a poisoner. So there are a lot of those. You have this one here. He's pretty good for it if you put books in. Most of them actually need that. A very large number of people will use her, because she puts the sensitivity so they take more damage from poison. And then this will just constantly put 2 of them every time. And it's always 2 when booked up, but only with the sensitivity in place. Which means you do need a bit of speed on her. Oddly enough, she doesn't almost ever use this other ability, so it doesn't really matter. I have books on it anyway, because they just happen to land there. But if you book this one and this one, then the turn meter thing you can just ignore. Because she'll probably never use it, and it doesn't really help a lot anyway. A poisoner, however, is definitely not the only good option for it. You can use someone for burn. A good example would be Drexthar here, because he can do it when he hits things here, which is the only ability he'll use when run on auto, unless you use a saved team saying otherwise. Which is good, because he won't be trying to provoke the boss. And then he has this wonderful effect of usually just burning it when it hits him. Oddly enough, burn seems to do more damage depending on the rarity of whoever places it. Which means in his case, he's gonna be putting a better burn because he's a legendary. So, he's a very good one, especially since most people can just get him eventually from the bazaar. Pretty much anybody, as long as you just save up your gold bars. And then, of course, there's another way you can do damage. You can use the masteries, go with the offense, and take either War Master here or Giant Slayer, because it's based on max HP, and it will do more. And there are other things also based on that which will work well. You could use, say, I think Royal Guard's in here somewhere. He actually does work for it because of this ability saying enemy max HP. Anything like that will work on the boss, although, oddly enough, I have never seen someone use him so far. It might just be that they don't think about it, and they think of him more as a dungeon nuker. But he definitely would work, and anyone else like Septimus with a similar hitting ability, they will all hit it hard with that. Then you also have just anything else that will do max health damage, like Geomancer with his passive and such. And damage reflection can actually do a pretty decent amount when it gets to the higher turn count and the damage scales up. To show a particularly effective option, you have decrease attack here and decrease defense between him and Ninja, so it stays up consistently. Then you have a poisoner and a good defense aura, because defense is the best option, or health, some way of staying alive as long as possible. And if you can't manage those, speed is a great option. Really just any aura you can fit into the team available, as long as it works, if that's what you have to do. Some people resort to using an accuracy one from Drexthar or whatever. So, you could do that. And then, a lot of teams end up with extra slots for people once they've filled all the roles they need. When that happens, it's always better to go either with somebody that will keep you alive for a really long time, like... Let's see here. I know I have him somewhere. There he is. He's in the pit. Iron Brago will work for it, because he'll keep your defense boosted constantly, which just helps you last a lot longer. Or you could just go with extra damage. So, someone like Razin, possibly. In this case, I was actually really lucky and ended up with 2 Kreelas, which is good because of the ally attack. You can see it here. Any ability like this, where you have team up with random allies to attack an enemy, or something like that, that will be really good because you get lots of extra hits in a short amount of time, and you can keep activating War Master more times. You just get a lot more damage. And counterattackers are even better if you get Valkyrie or something. So to show this, should actually start it. And then you can just see how it works. In this case, it is actually Nightmare, so the stats have to be pretty high. But you can see it. And there's the ally attack going off. And it puts up all that extra damage. Another important thing is, since most teams rely on lifesteal, if you can manage to get critical rate on people, that's generally enough that their damage increases to the point of lifesteal being much more effective consistently. And if you can do extra damage, like I have on Kreela, because that's all she does, is damage, then that's good. But it's better to be more defensive and get the right speed and accuracy. Move fast enough that you can actually move at least before the boss does. Preferably more than once before he does, but that's really difficult at higher stages, like the Nightmare one. And you definitely want the accuracy so all your debuffs will work, like anywhere else. So now you can see exactly how it all worked. The lifesteal results in literally everyone just getting lots of healing. The people who do more damage obviously are going to get more, which happened to be Ninja that time. That's mostly going to be that his passive will put ridiculous levels of attack on him as he keeps going. That's exactly why I use him for that. And then the defense is always going to be mostly similar on these people, except for the one that got lots of hits on him. But now you've seen the basics of how to do clan boss.